The holidays are here. Woohoo! I can already hear that Christmas music playing on my country Christmas. So how's that making you feel? Are you maybe overwhelmed and stressed like us? Well, fear not, because Cindy and I have the keys to overcome that stress.
Join us as we share our easy tips and uncover a secret to guarantee your sales success this holiday season and into the new year.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Secrets in Medical Device Sales, brought to you by the Girls of Grit. We are so happy you guys continue to join and listen to us. And today we have a really fun episode. I'm really looking forward to this, Cindy.
I am too. I think it's the most relaxed and fun I've felt in a little while, which is good. This is how I want to feel this time of year.
Yeah.
Relaxed, laughing.
Rolling into the holidays, as stressful as the holidays can be, especially for all of you working mamas out there and wives, man, it can be very stressful. But Cindy and I are here today to give you guys some really good tips and some good advice on how to handle the holidays. And we are going to get you prepped and ready for success to set you up for a good new year.
And before we reveal our secret and how we're going to do that, we just were absolutely laughing. We've been doing this a long time. And every year, this time of year is where you start to like almost feel, I don't know what the word is, like tightness, overwhelm, or you're
pain.
excited. Yeah. And then it all depends because I think everybody has different roles during the holidays. If you're a working mom or just a working female, a working wife, working single mom, whatever it is, or even men out there, it just for some reason, mid-November to the end of December, regardless of what holiday you celebrate. It could be Kwanzaa, it could be Hanukkah, it can be Christmas, it can be Thanksgiving, whatever it is, every one of your customers feels the stress. Every commercial on TV is that way. I would say pretty much most Americans do celebrate Thanksgiving next week, and then it's the travel and everything you have planned for that week. It's like, yikes, I thought I had a whole work week and I really only have a couple days.
Yes.
So these are all the things that we faced over and over. And we thought it'd be really fun today to kind of talk through some of them and help you all make this a very successful holiday season.
Yeah, we've both been through this, Cindy. We're both still going through this. I still have a couple one little one at home and 3 teenagers. I will tell you, like, talk about stress. This will make you laugh. I don't know where Brooklyn got this timer from. Brooklyn's my 10-year-old. She has a Christmas timer, okay? And
a what?
A Christmas timer. And she knows how stressed out I get about Christmas because it's Christmas and then it's her birthday. So it's like, there's so much stuff. And so the other day, she does this every week. And she started reminding me 7 weeks out. Okay, I'm good. The other day, she's like, Mommy, guess how many weeks till Christmas? I don't want to know. And she's like, this is not fair. Stop telling me. And she just dies laughing. And I'm like, God, this is like the stuff that really stresses me out. I want to enjoy the holidays. I made a commitment to myself this year that I would really try and work on doing things early and planning things out so I wasn't so stressed. But you know, it's hard when we're working and we've got cases and we've got customer meetings and we've got all these things that are required of us. It really can be overwhelming, especially for women in this industry, because let's face it, the Thanksgiving dinners usually fall on the mamas. The Christmas dinners, the gifting, the hosting of the parties, all of that. I mean, it usually falls on us women. And when you're a hardworking career woman like we are, it just really stresses you out.
So you know what? Brooklyn may have a Christmas timer, but Wall Street, our companies, our bosses, they don't have a timer that says time out. You don't have to do your job.
That's right.
For the next 5 weeks, you don't have to go see that customer. You don't have to get in that order. All your numbers can just settle for the next 6 weeks. So I think that one of the best things we can do for ourselves is to figure out how to align with all that's needed, because it's not going to go away. And stressing about it isn't going to make it any better. I remember when they were little and those hours of those days were so hard to like niche in. I've got all this work to do. How am I going to actually go shopping? Because of course now there's Amazon. So hallelujah for that. Years ago, there wasn't. So one of the things I remember was how the daycare that they went to, they had this 3-hour, it was called Holiday Drop-In Night. And I'm sure maybe places have that. But the premise was the first Friday of every December. It was from, I can't remember if it was like 5 to 8 or 4 to 9. There was like these hours where the kids could come. They had to wear Christmas pajamas. They'd make cookies and it was free. And they let all the parents who didn't have help shop.
Wow.
And shop, wrap, whatever you need to do that you can't do in front of the little eyes. I don't know whether that is something that anybody has as an opportunity, but I think about that and I think about what a relief that was and how just a few hours could make a difference. So what I realized is that in November, I'm thinking, okay, that day's that Friday. So what do I need to do? And I remember one year I wanted to take Friday afternoon off so I could get my stuff ready, get them there and be on with my day. And so I was like, at the same time, I had this big thing I was working on for work. And the goal was to really have everything done before the holidays because of committees, right? Now, committees are going to meet. Some of them shut down in November. This particular one was December 12th. Why do I remember this day? And then it would be, if that worked, then we went into January. And so January is when you come back. And if you've got things on the plate to get you driving, there's nothing better for momentum in your business to come back with business ready to keep you going. So I remember I set out, and what I did that particular day was set up 2 meetings in the morning, and I set up this lunch, particularly everything they needed before the 12th. And my sole goal was to do what I needed to do to go Christmas shopping. But I don't know about you, Lisa, when you focus like that, do you find yourself hyper focused, very intentional, making sure everything you need for this lunch is buttoned up and everything you need so you don't forget or have to go back or it wasn't a waste of your time?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what you're talking about really is what you and I want to discuss today. And that is how to be ultimately successful during the stressful holiday season, especially as working mamas. It all comes down to what, Cindy? What does it all come down to?
Our secret. Do you want to reveal our secret this time, Lisa?
No, you go ahead.
Reveal.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead. You're so good at it.
Okay, everybody. The secret to success during the holiday season is simple preparation. No. I know everybody here it's preparation organization. No. I mean simple preparation. What do I mean by that? We're all in medical device, or if you're getting into medical device, there are things that are simple. And sometimes when we're so overwhelmed with the holidays and all the extra, we forget about the basics. There's no better time in your calendar year than to just go through the basics with your customers. Bring them back to simplicity. Because I already mentioned I may be distracted. You may have family coming, but guess what? Your customers feel the same way. Some of them, say your customer is a hospital employee and they do 12-hour shifts. They are locked into certain hours, clocking in and clocking out. They can't leave for something and come back. They can't go to something, unless I take an official day off. Do you think their attention and their mind is on what you need to have done?
Yeah, no, not at all. And
But if it's simple, maybe you can ask them a simple act instead of a big one.
I'm going to ask you, Cindy, I mean, for you, because you are such an organized person, way more than I am, unless it's in my phone, it doesn't get done. So how, in terms of simple preparation, how do you see this playing out? Is it a list that you make? Is it a priority list? And do you put customers on that, turkey dinner on that? What exactly does that look like?
Oh, I love this question. Yes, for those of you who don't know, I absolutely love to be organized. It just really makes me happy.
Her favorite store is the Container Store.
Oh my God, yes. My husband gets so mad. We don't need a container for that. I'm like, well, they all need to line up and we don't need to have a mess.
I love it. I love it.
But I feel that way about my business too. So I think that I'll just start very simple. It's kind of a little bit of everything. So what I do during these holidays is I always kind of think about the holidays coming almost like a new business account. Okay. Because when you're busy at work, and you get something new, think about when you have a new account, how am I going to squeeze this in? What's going to work? But how do I not drop the ball on all of my other accounts, especially my really good ones? So yes, I am a list maker and I will start with work lists. It always has to be work target first. And then I have priorities of holidays. And I can start with prioritizing the big things that need to be done early and then the things you can save till later. One of the things, Lisa thought this was funny, but I'm going to share with you what I do. So every year for Thanksgiving, because don't forget the holidays start soon. Every year for Thanksgiving, I host. Now I have family coming from far away, so people can't drive in with meals. So I end up just purchasing everything for my house. So everything's with me. And it used to be 7 trips to the grocery store. Have you done that, Lisa? Oh, I forgot brown sugar.
Yes.
Or who buys brining bags except once a year?
Right.
And if you don't have Amazon or you forget, and then you're like, this store doesn't have them and this store doesn't have them. So it got to the point where I'm like, don't forget brining bags. Remember in November, you better get a brining bag. So I started making a list. So what I did years ago is on my phone. I had in my notes, which is now in a Google Doc, every single item I need for Thanksgiving. And then I just pull it up. And when I'm in the grocery store in November, which will be this weekend, or
Yeah.
the weekend coming up, is getting everything ahead of time, all the canned goods ahead of time, all the things that are packaged that you don't normally purchase for all this stuff, marshmallows with your
Sure.
sweet potato
Yeah.
casserole. And then you're like, what do I have to save for the last week? If you're somebody that buys a frozen turkey, it's frozen. You can buy it way ahead of time. Every year, I don't have to rewrite the list. I don't have to forget. And I even just put it in blocks like this recipe needs this, because sometimes things would overlap because it's a lot of things to make. If you haven't done that this year, start writing down what you just bought. Leave yourself a little note, put it in your phone even, or in a Google Doc. And then next year, it'll be ready. So that's one of the
Wow.
little things I do.
That's very nice.
Back to work.
Yeah. So for work, and that's amazing, but for work with your list, and you're talking about treating situations maybe as new accounts, are you prioritizing that list? I think something that I will do in my head is I'll make a list of all the physicians or all the accounts, right? And
Yes.
the things that I have to get done, whether it's like you were talking about a VAT committee, or I need to go in service the staff on this device, or I have somebody coming in for a visit and I need to make sure that everything is set up for that. In addition to that, though, what are you doing to basically get yourself ready? Because you and I just were discussing this, is really this whole holiday prep thing is not just making sure that you're doing your job and you're working during the holidays, but you're really setting yourself up for a very successful January, right? Because
yes.
January is tough. Everybody's coming back from the holidays. Sometimes they're slow to start. Kids don't go back to school until like the middle of January now these days, I swear. It's like you're doing all of this to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success in the future. So what kind of things are you doing for that?
So you bring a really good point. In medical device, dry January is a bad word. That is a bad
Ooh,
word.
that's a great, I love that.
No dry January, right?
No dry,
Like
period,
in
no
any
dry
of your
January.
business. If you treat January like it's going to be the end of your quarter, and for some of you, it may be. It's like the end of the year and you want to drive home. Think about all the people that don't prepare, all the people that didn't listen to our secret, and they're going to be behind the eight ball because why? They let things drop in November and December. Their customers forgot about them. They got pushed to the bottom of a list or something. So now those people spend all of January trying to build themselves back up because now they're in dry January, where we want you to come out of the gates after New Year's and just be charged with momentum and sales and everything you need to keep your business moving. Answer
So
to
how
your
are we
question.
doing that? Yep.
Prioritizing. We are preparing. One thing first, exactly. Prioritize your main accounts. Okay, so what are the big things? Do you have something big to close? Are you in capital sales? And is there something that you can have a PO in by December 31st? That was always a big, big, big push for capital sales.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you have something that people stock monthly, are there people that are going to be gone? You have to remember so many people take vacation the last 2 weeks in December.
Yes, good point, Cindy. You're right. And that affects collecting those POs as
Yes.
well as stocking those shelves. And the truth is if you're on call like us, you got to have those shelves stocked. Even if you're not on call, but you're still working through the holidays, you got to make sure that they have all of your products on the shelf ahead of time because everything slows down. FedEx slows down for crying out loud. I mean, everything slows down during the holidays. Great points. Sorry, I
And
didn't
I
mean to
think,
interrupt.
no, I think you need to think about December 31st as moving that day. What is the Friday before Christmas this year? It's usually around like the 20th or something or the 19th. I have no idea what you want to look at that while I'm looking.
I don't know. I'll look.
Whatever the Friday before Christmas is in your work business, make that like the end of your quarter, the end of
20th.
your year.
Yeah, the 20th.
And so the 20th. So my favorite thing to do is reverse engineer all your planning. Look at December 20th. This is your last day. Now
I love
start
that.
working backwards. I
Some,
love to reverse
I
engineer.
love that. And you know what? Some things actually take a little bit of time. Let's say you're working on a bulk project, right? You're going to give the hospital a great amount of discount on X amount of products, and you need to have that PO drop prior to obviously your month closing, maybe your company year-end closing, but also the holidays coming. That December 20th becomes your new December 31st. You now no longer have till December 31st. You have December 20th. So if you're not on the horn right now, you better get on that horn because by the time December 20th rolls around, if it's not happening, it may not happen. At least get the wheels going, get it to where the signatures are going to be made. And you said this already, but some people take like 2 weeks off. Your CEO's signature, CEO may be gone. He may be flying an Evis. I mean, you don't know. So
Right.
there's no
Eva
way you're
sounds
going
great right about
to,
now.
right? There's no way you're going to get that signature. So again, it's about that simple planning and that
Mhm.
prioritizing. But I love that reverse engineering term, Cindy, because that's so truthful in so many businesses, but especially in ours. Know your end date and now work back from it and start to
Right.
plan ahead of time.
And are you somebody that works like better under pressure? When you're like, oh my gosh, I'm coming into the home rush. What does that make you do? If that makes you think clear, then take whatever day you're listening to this and sit down, look at your calendar, and then just trick your mind. Think, okay, I've got 2 weeks to do what really looks like I have 4 or
Yep.
6 weeks, whatever. And then it's amazing how I believe it makes you more intentional. Depending on exactly what your goal is, it's being intentional. And I mentioned earlier about simple preparation, right? What are the simple things in medical device that always seem to work? We did an episode a few weeks ago, showing up.
Absolutely. Showing up and being there. You'll solve some problems while you're showing up, and you'll see your doctors, and you may get lunches scheduled or dinners scheduled or cases scheduled. Absolutely. Showing up is one of the very simple things. You're exactly right to be doing.
So to make sure you don't drop the ball, like some other people out there will, we're preparing all of you listening to make sure you don't. Pull out your calendar. You all can do this right now. Why don't you make a plan to show up? Why don't you look at your calendar and what are you going to do when you show up? We've talked about this before too. Maybe it's going to be a breakfast, or it's going to be a lunch, or it's going to be, maybe it's a special inventory. Some hospitals allow you, if you can bring in food, some you can't, very aware of that. But for those that you can, those that work in supply chain, there's nothing like pizza for lunch and thanking you
Oh,
for a great
or
year.
Christmas cookies, something like
Christmas
that. I used
cookies.
to bake
Oh,
cookies. Did you know that?
do they even allow you to have like something
I
homemade
don't know
anymore?
now. I don't know, but I used to hand bake cookies for all of
Oh,
my offices. I know it was such a pain, by the way, because I'm not a baker, but my
I'm
kids love,
impressed.
but my
With
kids love doing it. But I mean, it was so wonderful. I have another thought too. I mean, I don't want to keep like filling people's ears with all these random stories, but one thing that I was thinking about real quick when we were talking about like prioritizing and doing things, I think you also need to figure out you're picking your days where you're going to show up at your accounts. You're going to do the things that you strategize to do. And side note, if you haven't listened to that episode, go back and listen to it so you know exactly what to do. The next thing you need to make sure is that if you are taking off, you need to make sure that you are covered by somebody else, whether that's a clinical, another sales rep that you may share the territory with, a manager, whoever you need to cover you while you're out. And you need to let your physicians know. I think sometimes we either
That's
assume they
huge.
know or we just are like, oh, they'll never call. No, it is really important to be on top of things and let your physicians know you care enough that you have coverage while you are out. It's really important.
Gosh, it sneaks up on you again, preparation. But that's not hard. That's not hard to say, whether it's a clinical, whether it is a coworker, communicate with your upper management and say,
Mm-hmm.
these days I need, or these days I don't. And in the same time, like many medical device companies have like partners that work. Call them now, pull out your calendar. Maybe somebody's heavy Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for something, and then you flip Thursday, Friday, somebody else has a little, takes the weight. But I think you have to remember that all of the joy that we get from holidays, whether it's traveling, buying gifts, jobs allow us to do that. Our jobs give us that money, that freedom to do it. There shouldn't be this friction of, well, I could enjoy this, but I have to work. You know what I mean? It just needs to be
Great
a
point, Cindy.
time to stop and be grateful for everything that we have during these holidays and celebrate with your families and be really grateful for the privilege that we've had to be in medical device and how we get to impact patients and make a difference is something that not every sales career has. And if you're listening to this and you're not specifically in medical device, there's got to be something that you really get out of the field that you're in, or you wouldn't be in it. And when we stop worrying about all the extra things that have to happen, and we just ground ourselves and be grateful that we get to let things happen, put you in a better mind frame. It will make you better with your customers. It'll make you happier. And it just brings a whole new meaning to the holiday season.
Oh, with that, that was so perfectly said and wrapped up in a nice little bow, Cindy. With that, I think we're going to close this episode. But I just think it's really important you guys remember this is truly a behind the scenes look at how do you holiday prep. During the holiday season, how do you prepare for success? And some of these tips that we shared with you guys, they're so simple. They're easy to do. Put them on your checklist and get them done, and add that turkey dinner to that list. Go shopping for the turkey dinner when you're done hosting a late lunch or after that late case of the day. Knock it off your list as you're moving along, but definitely make sure, like Cindy mentioned, that you are reverse engineering these last couple of weeks into the holiday season. Be mindful of cutoff dates, be mindful of when your customers are taking off, whether that's in purchasing or your physicians themselves. Be mindful of all of that and reverse engineer that and set yourself up for success now and into 2025.
I have one more bonus I would like to add to this, because that was perfect, Lisa, is that the one thing women tend to forget this time of year is ourselves. In your preparation and planning, continue your workouts. Maybe you get up 20 minutes earlier. And why don't all of you look for a reason to treat yourself? Sometime between these next 2 months, whatever your self-care is, if it is a massage, if it's a 30-minute walk in nature, whatever, a facial, just right now, schedule something for yourself that becomes an appointment that you don't break, because we're only as good to everybody else as we are to ourselves. And we are wishing you a very successful holiday season, because no medical device rep that listens to this podcast will have a dry January.